Can y'all hear me now? Houston, can you hear me now? If we got audio, gang, let me know. All right, so we got audio, but we got this freaking box here again. Ay, ay, ay. As y'all can see, I'm still trying to master this whole restream thing here. All right, so from the beginning, David. All right, y'all. So we got the little black box here. Can I move this bastard around? All right, y'all. Let's just hang with the black box here, and then next time I go live, I'll figure this all out. But all right, let's just dive in here from the beginning. So as I was saying there, right, structure is everything. So when you get a day like yesterday, where the Qs are down 2% and everything's kind of pulling in, the S&P 500 is down a little bit, the first thing you want to look at and the first thing you want to ask yourself is, are we losing structure here, or is this just kind of a bunch of meaningless noise? So as I look at the S&P 500, all we did was dip to the 8 EMA yesterday. Like, nothing happened here as far as structure. If you look at the Qs, now the Qs are down, a good 2% at one point yesterday. Did anything happen here structurally? We just kind of pulled back towards the 21. Makes a little bit of sense when you're up there at +2 ATR. So, I mean, yeah, a little bit of pressure yesterday, but it does nothing to put a dent in the structure of this bullish market. So you look at the futures this morning, Qs are back above the 8 EMA. You look at the S&P 500, we're just behaving nicely. So, I do think that's a good habit to have as a trader. When you get a little bit of volatility, you get a little bit of selling pressure taking place on a day like yesterday, check the structure. If yesterday we're dumping under the 21 EMA and we're dumping towards -1, -2 ATR, then it's like, oh, all right, shit, something's happening here. But all we did was dip to the 8. So yesterday's price action was no different than that day. No different than that day. So I think structure gives you a good, healthy perspective. Now, we do have the Fed here today. You got tech earnings. So I think now a better time than ever to focus simply on structure. If we just continue to hold above the 8 here, continue to hold above the 21, it's a bullish market, right? Nothing really changes. So give you a quick look here at some open positions, and then we'll take a look at a few things here on the watch list. So I do have a couple of put credit spreads here in Peloton. Now, Peloton's another one. It's down like 4% at one point during yesterday's session. But nothing happened to the daily squeeze. So if you liked the daily squeeze on Monday, if you liked it on Friday, you liked it on Thursday, on Wednesday, on Tuesday, etc., you should still be a huge fan of it yesterday because it's just noise. Nothing happens here. So I love the daily squeeze. I do also love me this weekly squeeze here. And I'm looking for Peloton to make a move higher into earnings, which are based on Thinkorswim coming up on September 9th. So I think as long as Peloton is in the buy zone here, the buy zone being as close to the 21 as possible, between -1 and +1 ATR, I think it's got a good structure. You look to plant a few seeds and you look for the move into the upside before earnings. So I'm a big fan of Peloton here. And I've also got a swing position in Broadcom. Another one. It's getting smacked upside the head with the ugly stick yesterday, but nothing changes. Like, it's just the same crap it's been doing for pretty much the last month here. It's +1, -1, +1, -1, +1, -1. Nothing happened yesterday. If you liked the daily squeeze a couple days ago, if you liked it a week ago, you should still be a huge fan here, which I am. So I love the daily squeeze and I love the weekly. And you got a good little runway here until earnings. Earnings are estimated for September 9th. So, at the moment, Broadcom is my only position, but I want more as far as exposure in the semiconductors. So if you look at SMH here, probably my favorite weekly squeeze in the market. Beautiful structure to the weekly squeeze. And did anything change yesterday? Nothing changed. daily squeeze, daily squeezing. So I'm really a big fan here, pretty much of anything in the semiconductor basket. So I'm not sure how AMD did on earnings. Got a beautiful weekly squeeze here. It's stacked EMAs. You got green 10x bars. Your histogram is positive. So I think your AMDs, I think your Qualcomms here, I mean, that's a beautiful weekly squeeze. So I don't think you can really go wrong with anything in the semiconductor basket so long as it has a good structure to it. And I think AMD, I think Broadcom, I think Qualcomm, they all kind of fit the bill here. Now, as far as everybody's favorite, the king here, was AMD's earnings release good? Beautiful. Yeah, definitely like that weekly squeeze. Now for NVIDIA here. So NVIDIA gets a little bit of a smack in there ahead of the stock split, and then it catches the bounce, and we're just kind of sitting here right near that daily 21 EMA. Stacked EMAs, got green 10x bars on the weekly, the monthly, the 3-day, the daily. It still looks bullish, right? Still got a good structure. Now the only thing missing here for me is a daily squeeze. I love those daily squeezes. Now I do think we're going to get a daily squeeze here. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. I think we get a daily squeeze sometime this week if we just keep trading between +1 and -1 ATR. It's typically where you get a brand new daily squeeze. Now, if we don't have a daily squeeze yet, what we can do is we can take into consideration we're just sitting right at the 21 EMA right now. That 21 EMA is going to oftentimes serve as your launching pad. Right? A lot of big, powerful moves start here at the 21. So if we don't have a daily squeeze, but we're just chopping right at that launching pad, what you can do is dial it down to a lower time frame, and you're looking for squeezes here as well. We're looking for squeezes, but we're also looking for bullish structure to those squeezes. So if I don't have a daily, all right, I'll look for a 4-hour, I'll look for a 2-hour, I'll look for a 1 hour, a 30-minute, but I want them to have all the same criteria that I take to a daily chart. So you do have a 4-hour squeeze here, but there's no stacked EMAs, there's red 10x bars. It's just a little bit sloppy, right? It's a little bit early. You do have a 2-hour squeeze here, but you have negatively stacked moving averages, no green 10x bars. Let's check out the hourly. Right, hourly squeeze, no stacked EMAs. So here's what I'm getting at. A few weeks ago, Amazon in a very similar situation here to NVIDIA. Right, Amazon had made a big move off of the daily 21, pulled back into the buy zone, and it spends a good week just chopping right above the 21. Now notice we never got a daily squeeze. Never got a brand new daily squeeze. But as we're sitting right on top of that launching pad, here's what we did get with Amazon. Right on top of that launching pad, you had a 4-hour squeeze, and it had a bullish structure. Histogram was positive. You had positively stacked EMAs. You had green 10x bars. Inside of that 4-hour squeeze, you also had a 2-hour. And the 2-hour squeeze also had a bullish structure. Positive histogram, you had stacked EMAs, you had green 10x bars. You had that kind of squeeze with those bullish characteristics from the 4-hour all the way down to like the 15-minute time frame. If we don't have a daily squeeze just yet, we're looking for those kinds of squeezes in the lower time frames right at that 21 EMA. So from that perspective, right, and looking at things through that kind of lens here, I do think maybe a little bit early on NVIDIA. Now, if you're comfortable sitting through a little bit more downside and potentially a little bit of sloppiness here, then I think you can take an entry. But if you're just trying to time things, right, where you're taking your entry just as NVIDIA here is really getting ready to wake up, you want quality, bullish structure to the squeezes on those lower time frames. Right now, we don't quite have that. So definitely keep an eye out on NVIDIA. I do think semis make a move here. NVIDIA is going back towards those highs. And the good news is you can play NVIDIA for a move back into the highs with plenty of time till earnings. Yeah, earnings is on August 18th. So it's not plenty of time, but I think it's ample. So I got some Broadcom. I've got some Peloton. I have got some Dropbox here. for Dropbox to kind of like wake up out of this daily squeeze for a push into 31.5, 32 and change. So looking for the move here into earnings, but that's a beautiful looking daily squeeze. And Walmart, got to put credit spread here on Walmart. Walmart's got a good daily, got a great looking weekly, and last but not least, I got a short. Got a short here on the small caps. Got no stack DMAs, you got red 10x bars. So you get the flush down here to -2. Then you get the bounce to the 21. That's where I shorted it last week. Looking for another move back down to -2, -3. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on there. Now, aside from that, though, y'all, let's take a look here at some scan results. See what's coming up this morning of interest. Let's see. ABT. What do we got here? Not a bad looking daily squeeze. Not the best, but not bad. Let's see. This is a great looking setup here. So let's check this bad boy out. We have got a daily squeeze. You got a pull back yesterday to the 21, stack DMAs, green 10x bars. Let's make sure the weekly still looks good. Weekly looks nice and bullish. Yeah, so I think that deserves a spot on the focus list. That's pretty clean. KMX here, really bullish. That looks pretty good as well. So A is pretty solid. KMX is solid. What the hell is this? That's like a recent IPO. We got Walmart. Let's see, Salesforce. I think Salesforce looks pretty good here as well. You got a squeeze. You got your dip to the 21. You hold in support. BMY looks pretty solid, but I'm not going to touch it a day before earnings. Then one I do have on the list here is also SE. So SE, you got a really good structure here, but it quickly kind of takes off without you. So I didn't catch that initial move. So once we're up here at 2 ATR, I'm waiting on a pullback. Now we got the pullback yesterday, albeit pretty ugly stuff there. Big flush, right? You go from +2 to -2 in a couple of sessions. So at one point, that's pretty ugly stuff yesterday. However, it bounces right back into the buy zone towards the end of the session there. So I'm a big fan of SE. And let's just check out our weekly chart. But I like the pullback here, and earnings is on August 17th. So I think what I might come in here today and look to do is see if I can sell some put credit spreads down here around maybe 250, 255, and see if this can't turn the corner and make a push back into the highs before earnings. But I really love selling those put credit spreads after a little bit of a flush there. But those are a few things I'll keep an eye on here. Really, for me right now, it's just a matter of practice and patience and sitting on the hands, seeing how things go into the Fed this afternoon. So if the market explodes to the upside, I got my Piton, my Broadcom, my Walmart, my Dropbox. And then if the market just decides to roll over and die, which I kind of think is unlikely, but if it does decide to do that, got a short here on the small caps. And based on the structure, they should lead the way lower. So got all my bases covered, and I'm waiting for that next round of opportunities. Will it be NVIDIA with a brand new daily squeeze? Potentially. Will it be SE on the dip, selling some spreads? Could be that as well. But keeping it small right now as far as the focus list, just being patient. And that's about all I got for y'all. So if you got a few charts you want to take a look at, let's do that here. Go fast, die last. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I can do a video on that. And as a matter of fact, let me add it to my notes here. But yeah, no problem. And good point on SE in China there. SE and yeah, so you look at like the Babas of the world. Yeah, Chinese stocks took they took quite the beaming yesterday. Right? Alibaba took a nasty hit. definitely something to take into consideration. I mean, I like the structure here as long as we can keep clinging towards that 21. You keep falling back under -1, -2, then potentially kind of guilty by association, so to say, with the volatility of the Chinese stocks. Yeah, so with the watch list here, this is something that Simpler Trading built, just the squeeze, right? So you look at Walmart here, weekly is the weekly column, right? So if you got the 10, see how it says 10? That means there's a weekly squeeze, and it's been squeezing for 10 bars. D stands for daily. If it's red, there's a daily squeeze. In this instance, there is 9 days of a squeeze. And then your 4-hour here, just fired a 4-hour squeeze to the upside. Your 2-hour is in a squeeze, etc., etc. And I'm not sure if that's something that we just hand out and share, but let me check into that. And if it is, I can hook y'all up, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, Tom. So these are Keltner channels, right? So let's do this real quick, and I'll keep this up here long enough so that those of you on Thinkorswim can kind of take a look at the settings here. But these are Keltner channels. So what you'll want to do is you're going to want to get 3 different sets of Keltner channels, right? So factor, that's the distance there. It's going to measure from that 21 period EMA. So you just want a few different Keltner channels. And I tell y'all what, because this is how about I do this? Because I do want to help y'all as much as I can. So while I got you here, if there's different things you would like me to make a video about, post them up in the chat right now, and we'll get a list going here, and I'll start banging these videos out. Let's see, video ideas. I do like the idea of doing a video on the scan. Let's do a video on the Keltner channels. The Keltner channels. And Andrew, the buy column is something I'm currently working on kind of behind the scenes. And hopefully within the next month or so, I can start talking a little bit more about that. But that's just something we're working on right now. Undercover stuff. Yeah, we'll do a video on the Keltner channels, definitely. Do a video on the scans, all that good stuff. We'll do a video on the watch lists. If I could spell, that would be great. Watch list. Thoughts on a pullback on Tesla? Let's take a look here. I mean, Tesla's just sitting nicely here in this daily squeeze. Now, my one gripe with Tesla is we don't have the positively stacked EMAs right now, which, that's just a huge rule of mine. I'll trade that daily squeeze to the upside all day long if we have the positively stacked EMAs. So that's kind of one thing I'm waiting on here for Tesla. But really, I mean, it looks sloppy as of late, right? But I look at it from a different perspective. When you're trading, or when a stock is trading between +1 and -1 ATR, there's not much happening. Right? It might look ugly, it might look a little bit sloppy, but it's just kind of catching its breath. It's building up energy. That typically leads towards the best moves the market has to offer once that squeeze fires. So, from that perspective here, Tesla's doing nothing wrong as of late. It's taken a bit of a break, and granted, it's not running with the overall market, but it's just +1, -1, +1, -1. It's building up energy, which to me means it is getting ready for its next directional move. Now, this is where the other tools kind of come into the equation. The histogram is negative, which is something to take into consideration, right? Momentum is starting to potentially die out here. You don't have stacked EMAs, so for those of you unfamiliar with that, it's just not as clean as possible. It's not, its bullish momentum isn't fully intact, so to say. You look at a weekly here, and you got this tight weekly squeeze, right? Everything's just tightening up here. There's no stacked EMAs here. So, I mean, I look at Tesla right now as a stock that in my opinion, over the next 3 to 6 months is probably really likely to make a big directional move with a combination of daily squeezes and a pretty long term at this point. And what's this been, a few months? Yeah, we're talking almost a 5-month long weekly squeeze. So I do think Tesla's gearing up to get something going here. For me, it's just a matter of, being a little bit more patient to get a better sense of, well, which way is that move most likely going to happen? If all of a sudden your weekly histogram is going positive, you got your stacked EMAs. If all of a sudden your daily chart has a histogram going positive, you got positively stacked EMAs, and if all of a sudden every lower time frame is just, screaming bullish at you, well, then I'm excited. But I look at the 4-hour chart here, has negatively stacked EMAs. I tend to never want to get long anything that has negatively stacked EMAs. You got red 10x bars. I look for some bullish structure to a 2-hour chart. I don't have it here either. Negative histogram, red 10x bars, no stacked EMAs. Now, this is all just noise. It's just all kinds of generally BS here, so to say, until the daily squeeze finally fires. But personally, I'm going to wait for things to get a little bit cleaner, both under the surface and on my daily and my weekly, before I start to pull the trigger here. So that's how I'm kind of looking at Tesla right now. Does it make a nice, solid move sometime soon? I would bet on yes. Do I feel like I can, really gauge which way that move is going to be just yet? Not personally. Tony, good question. Tony says, I'm new to credit spreads. What happens if by expiration price is a few cents below the strike price you sold? So Tony, I'm just going to assume you're referring to a put credit spread. So for conversation's sake, let's just say you got a put credit spread here on Tesla. Let's pretend we're looking at the market right now and it just closed on Friday. Right, this is a good example. And let's say you had a put credit spread and you have short strikes at 645. If we close 20 cents below your short strike, you are looking at your max profit. The 645, excuse me. Am I looking at this the wrong way? Right, you sold. Yeah, Tony, you're referring to a call credit spread. Okay, a put credit spread. I just want to make sure I'm looking at it correctly. And your question is, if expiration price is a few cents below the strike price sold. Okay, I get what you're saying. So let's just say you sold 645 puts, and we close like 20 cents below 645. That's what you're saying, right? You would most likely have a small loss. Now, vice versa, if you close, you got a short strike at 645 and we close at 645 and 45 cents, well, now you're looking at a max profit. So how are we doing on time here? For me, I like to stay away from that situation. Meaning if, 30 minutes before the close, this trade hasn't worked and I'm not looking at 70, 80% of my max profit, I'm just looking to get rid of the trade. So I rarely ever find myself with that spread riding it out into the close. So I don't tend to face that situation all that much personally. Yeah, then correct. Then you got assignment risk. And then there's the risk in some instances, market closes, all of a sudden Tesla gets some news and makes some, 2-3 minutes after the market closes. Tesla makes some giant ass move. That can play a role as well. All right, but listen, y'all, my bad for the audio issues this morning. I'm going to get this thing figured out. But I'm going to let y'all go now. So I think you'd be patient here today. Let's say you got a couple of swing positions open. Maybe you're long Peloton, but say you got a few long positions open. Well, the good news is here, if the market just continues to rally, if you're long, good quality setups here, you're in a good position to continue to make money. I think that's a good spot to be in. I also don't think you want to load the boat right now and have all kinds of exposure, because if the market does come in a little bit, not only do you want to be able to survive that, I think you want to be able to buy that dip. So when the day comes again, when we're sitting here at the 21 and we're squeezing, that's when I think you can get some more aggressive exposure on. In this market, I think you take your longs and you can, smaller positions, market keeps rallying, you keep making money, market pulls back, you're looking for new long opportunities. So I think you keep it simple, you keep it small here, but I appreciate y'all tuning in. So best of luck today. Have some patience, and then Chan Man will be on with y'all Friday morning. So enjoy the rest of your week, and I look forward to talking with you all soon. I appreciate your time.